What's up, CHFFL? Welcome to Week 12 of the 2021 season. We're back after missing 1 week of videos. I did have my notes in the Discord server. But before we get into the recap and predictions, a quick reminder that this is our last week before the trade deadline, which is December 3rd at 3 a.m., so get your trades done by then. We'll talk a little bit as the matchups come up about who may be selling, there are only two teams, Parker and then Derek and I. We'll see what happens. Week 11, in my predictions that are sadly not in video form, but are on the Discord server, I went 6-0, perfect last week, bringing me to 45-21 on the season. It's becoming a little easier. There are pretty much 2 or so tricky games every week with 3 teams really out of it in the CHFFL Show Conference. Max with another team of the week. He's had a few of those now, almost 200 points. Jonathan Taylor. It's like a cheat code last week. And the game of the week, Mark beat out, who was that, Wes. Very important for the playoff spots. Mark has pretty much solidified himself as one of the Faculty Lounge playoff teams. The big story on waivers was Ramondre Stevenson, $39. Grant got him. Everybody seemed to put in bids. Not sure why he was dropped. It's one of those cases where even if you're a little overloaded on players this close to the trade deadline, I think you drop the kicker, trade Stevenson, but it is what it is. Good job, Grant, making a move to get that extra FAAB to bring him in. Now on to the matchups. We're going to start in the CHFFL Show Conference probably for the rest of the year because the playoff picture is mostly solidified there other than who will get the bye week. First, we have Silky Johnson versus Clayton Bigsby's Tricksters. Marty had 65 points from his first 4 players, including his kicker and defense. So most of his big guys are still coming. That's easy to take Marty there. Next, Tyrone Bigham Crack Stars will take on Wayne Brady. Bandit's got 16 from Zeke. Not what he wants, but that's the whole thing, is that you get those top guys. It's a big floor. AJ Brown heading to the IR. That hurts. Brown has played well when he's been on the field, but just seems to be injured all year. Hopefully this is a quick 3-week stint and he'll be back for the playoffs, but going to be tough rolling for Bandits for a little while here. I'm still taking him to win this week, as JD is just not that solid of a team, especially now that he doesn't have Zeke. Next, Ashy Larry's Snake Guys versus Rick James Couch. This could be a trap game for Swan based on the points we already got on Thanksgiving. Grant got 43 from Michael Gallup, Knox, and his defense. James Conner is on a bye, and Grant, of course, is a bare bones team now after all the selling he's been doing. But Swan only got 5 from Waller. He suffered an injury as well, should be back next week. But it puts him in a point where he's way behind on points coming into the game. Grant needs Stevenson, who he just got off of waivers, to have a big game. I was looking at this one, and I really wanted to justify taking Grant in the upset, but I still can't. Roster-wise, Swan is just too strong, and he has McCaffrey back at full strength. So I'm taking Swan, but keep an eye on this one. Now let's go over to the CH Faculty Lounge, where we got Genie's Bunch of Good Boys versus Max's Wickers Knickers. Max is just on an absolute tear over these last several weeks. Wes got 29 points from Darnell Mooney and TJ Hawkinson. That's a good start for him, but his team is really not at its best this week. Kamara still out with an injury, didn't play, and then Michael Carter is not going to play. Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, of course, Kansas City on a bye. That leaves you a shell of Wes's team against the strongest team arguably in the whole league right now. Max only got 11 from David Montgomery, but yeah, there's just too much coming. You still have to fight Jonathan Taylor. I'm taking Max here. I don't expect it to be too close, but a bit of a rivalry game has formed here, so always keep an eye on that. Next, we go over to Stan's Miss Neeson's Cookies versus Derek and my Clip Game champions. DeAndre Swift only got 3 points before having to leave the game with a shoulder injury. Very unfortunate. Josh Allen gets 28, which is nice. Give us that bit of a floor. Stan, facing some injuries and being a bit beaten up himself, still hasn't really replaced Derrick Henry in the lineup. Only got 4 points from Tony Jones Jr., hoping that he would do something with all the injuries in New Orleans, but it just didn't happen. So this turns this into a close game heading into Sunday. Closer than definitely closer than I thought it would be after Swift got injured. We'll see if Tyler Lockett, Derek and I picked up in the trade last week, if that can push us over the edge, get us a little bit of upside. I don't think it will, though. I'm looking at this. I think Stan has us, which would knock us out of playoff contention pretty much and force us to sell before the trade deadline. But I expect this to be close and low scoring because we both got out to a slow start. Finally, the game of the week has to be Poppin' to the Moon, Mark versus Parker. Chuck Taylor, Shamalamas. Parker, like the Clip Game champions, is facing a do or die, but Mark got 22 points from the kicker. Really makes this an uphill battle. I mean, when you have these and you're watching somebody go for the big upset, you kind of hope they'll get those nice little luck points, but no, it came to Mark this time. The upside of Mark's team is so scary going into the playoffs with Barkley, Chubb, Jamar Chase, Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp. Any of them can go off. So Parker's not going to win this game without somebody scoring 35 plus, I think. Is it going to be Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon, two most likely the two superstars of that roster? Either way, he needs one. I'm taking Mark because I'm going for high winning or correct pick percentage on the year. But I'm keeping in. This is the one to watch. This is the one where if there's going to be some magic, a late miracle, see if Parker can pull it off. Hopefully there's some fireworks, not rooting for anybody in particular except myself, but this should be one more interesting week in what has been a great season. We'll see you for week 13.